The Indiana Fever were supposed to crumble. Caitlin Clark sidelined, Sophie Cunningham gone, Sydney Colson out, one injury after another. The kind of avalanche that usually buries a season for good. But instead of folding, the Fever rose. And in the process, they delivered one of the most unforgettable moments of the year. A moment that combined revenge, redemption, and pure basketball poetry. Lexie Hull, the overlooked role player, the one fans barely mentioned at the start of the season, took center stage. Against Minnesota, she not only stepped up, she humiliated Kayla McBride, the very same player who left her bloodied earlier this year. One crossover, one ankle-breaking play, and the whole arena erupted. But before we break this all down, I gotta ask, are you Team Fever or are you Team Lynx? This story didn't start with a crossover. It started months ago, back in the first Fever-Lynx matchup. Lexie Hull was driving strong, trying to make a play when Kayla McBride's elbow came crashing across her face. Hull hit the floor bleeding. Fans were furious. Teammates protested, but here's the crazy part. Instead of calling a foul on McBride, the refs penalized Hull. The internet exploded. Clips spread everywhere. Fever fans screamed bias. Others said Hull was being disrespected because she wasn't a star name. Either way, it left a scar. And when the rematch came around, there was a sense of unfinished business. This wasn't just another game on the schedule. This was about pride, about respect, about payback. Now here's what makes this story even wilder. By the time Indiana reached this rematch, they were hanging on by threads. Caitlin Clark? Groin injury? Done. Sophie Cunningham? Torn MCL? Done. Sydney Colson? A CL gone? Done. Chloe Bibby? Knee injury? Done. Ari McDonald? Stress fracture in her foot? Done. That's 5 players. Basically, an entire starting lineup ripped out of the rotation. You'd expect a team in that situation to fall apart, to give up and quietly fade out of the playoff picture. But Indiana didn't. They kept fighting. They found new ways to win. And that's what made this moment even more meaningful. Of course, the loss of Caitlin Clark was the toughest blow. Her rookie season wasn't just exciting, it was transformational. She was breaking records, selling out arenas, and bringing a spotlight Indiana hadn't seen in years. So when fans heard Clark was done for the season, the energy shifted. It felt like the Fever had lost their heartbeat. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of collapsing, Indiana leaned on her presence in a new way. Clark was on the sidelines every game, coaching, encouraging, directing traffic like a second voice in the huddle. She couldn't play, but she refused to disappear. And that kind of leadership, it trickled down. It gave her teammates belief. The first player to really answer the call was Kelsey Mitchell. For years, she's been one of the most underrated scorers in the WNBA. Playing on losing teams, her numbers were impressive, but nobody outside Indiana was paying attention. That changed this season. Without Clark, without Cunningham, without Colson, Mitchell went nuclear. She started averaging over 20 points per game, slicing through defenses, hitting clutch jumpers, forcing teams to double her every possession. She wasn't just filling a void, she was showing everyone why she should have been considered the franchise cornerstone all along. While Mitchell was torching defenses, Aaliyah Boston was holding everything else together. She gave Indiana consistency in the paint. 15 points, 9 rebounds, interior defense every single night. She broke the Fever's franchise rebounding record in just her second year. Think about that. At only 22 years old, she was already proving she's the kind of anchor you build a team around. Boston doesn't always get the flashy headlines, but without her steadiness, none of these wins happen. Now, enter Minnesota, the best team in the league, loaded with talent, experience, and size. For most people, this looked like a mismatch. The Fever were supposed to be too thin, too injured, too young. But from the opening tip, Indiana punched first. They stormed out to a 10-0 lead, silencing the crowd. They defended like their season depended on it. Players like Odyssey Sims, signed mid-season, barely even familiar with the system, came in and gave them firepower. Aerial Powers added toughness off the bench. It was a team effort. Everyone had a role. Everyone bought in. And then, the moment happened. Lexie Hull had been waiting for this. The last time she played the Lynx, she walked off the court bleeding, embarrassed, and disrespected. This time, she was the one who did the embarrassing. Hull caught the ball on the wing with McBride in front of her. She gave a quick jab step, then crossed over so sharp that McBride stumbled and hit the hardwood. The crowd gasped. Teammates leapt out of their seats. Hull didn't stop there. She rose up, drained the jumper, and sealed the moment. Social media lit up instantly. Karma, fans called it. The same player who once left Hull bloodied was now left broken on a highlight reel. This wasn't just a play. It was redemption. It was justice. By the time the buzzer sounded, Indiana had secured another statement win. Their streak continued, their confidence grew, and their identity solidified. First winning season since 2015. That's nearly a decade of frustration finally erased. What Hull's crossover symbolized was bigger than one highlight. It was Indiana's season in a nutshell. Underestimated, doubted, beaten down by injuries. But still standing, still fighting, still shocking the league. And here's the scary part. This was just the beginning. The Fever did this while missing half their roster. Imagine what happens when Clark, Cunningham, Colson, and McDonald all come back healthy. Indiana isn't just building. They're already here. Lexie Hull's revenge play will live forever on Fever highlight reels. Kelsey Mitchell proved she's a star. Aaliyah Boston reminded us she's the anchor of the future. And Caitlin Clark, even from the sidelines, showed she's more than just a scorer. She's a leader, so I'll ask again. Are you riding with the Fever, or are you Team Lynx? Let me know in the comments. And if you're loving stories like this, make sure you subscribe, because this Fever squad is only scratching the surface. The next time they're fully healthy, the entire league better be ready.